Welcome, everybody, to episode 9 of the Murph and Vish podcast. I'm here, with the one, the only Murph. How we doing today, Murph? How we doing?
I'm doing great this year. So, had a great workout today. The workout kicked my ass really, really bad today.
Ooh,
Kind of tired, but we're here. We're doing the work. Feel me? The grind don't stop.
okay. Yeah, if you haven't seen on Murph's Twitter page, he is putting in that work, ladies and gentlemen. Putting it in. Uh, if you want to see some good pictures of a good-looking guy, make sure you check out his Twitter. See some great pictures. But before we start today, as always, we are going with our Wordle. We are currently on a two streak.
Two streak, yep.
Murph has been just dominating with the first thing. So, Murph, what is our 5-letter word of today?
Let me think. Let's try havoc, because that's the first word that popped into my head.
Well, it's always seemed to work. And, well,
I'm off today, huh?
It might be over for us, chat. Every single one we've had the right one. But we got it.
Try bears. That has a lot of vowels in it.
Well, we already have an A, though.
Oh, that's true. Dang, there's no A. Books. Oh, do we have an O? Beers. There you go.
Okay. So, there's an E. I don't know if that means, though, the E can still be in the middle? Or not. I'm not sure on this, because there was E, and the second E wasn't... Ooh.
Right.
So, R... There's no A.
What about, how do you spell relic? R-E-L-I-C? Oh, there's no C. Never mind.
Yeah, there's no C.
What about, we could try Zans. Quiet. That never hurts. Oh, there's no E. No, there is an E, but there's no R. Dang, what the heck?
Wait, is there... Ooh, what about rune? Oh, I know. I was going to say runes, but...
There's no S.
There's no S.
Rapport. No, there's no or. There's no O.
Oh, there's no...
Dang it.
We'll do quiet, just to see if there's any letters. Okay, so the E's in it. So there's an I, R, and an E is the second to last. So I'm guessing maybe something. So maybe... Oh.
Rider? Maybe?
Ride? Rid?
Rided? No.
Ripped?
No, that has 2 P's in it, bitch. Oh. I'm really thinking it might be Rider, Vish.
Rider?
I think so, because it kind of makes a little bit of sense.
What's Sender Butt? Okay, so it's D I something E R. So Dyer. Actually, Dyer's a no.
DIYer.
Difer, Diger, Diker, Dalger. Um, huh. D-I...
Diaper. Oh, fuck. That's 6 letters.
Dwyer. I don't think that's a word. It could be.
Sender butt.
Oh, it's not a word. It's not a word, so we can't send it. So it's not Dipper?
I think that has 2 P's in it. I might be wrong, though. I mean, we could, but then we'd only have one guess left.
Differ. Oh, not a word.
I think that has 2 F's in it.
Digger? I think that's 2 G's, though.
Yeah, it is 2 G's.
That's not a word.
So the D must not be at the end. No, it has to be.
Yeah, it has to be at the start.
Dimer. Is that even a word?
What?
Dimer? Oh, diner! Diner!
Oh. But diners... Oh, yeah. Duh. Hey, let's go! Well, okay, so we've got one on guess 2, 4, and 5, chat.
My God, that was close, bitch.
That was. Took us a minute, but we got it. Okay, chat. So, today for our topic, we are talking about idols. We've all had, all of us in our life have had people that we have grown up idolizing, wanted to be like them, wanted to, follow their actions, did what they did, There's a lot of kids, we talk about sports, there's a lot of kids that, are now pulling up from freaking half court because they saw Steph Curry, There's a lot of these people that have become big idols, But, Murph, who in sports is your idol? Who do you look up to?
See, this is going to sound kind of weird to people, but growing up, I never had a lot of confidence in myself. So for me, it was always Terrell Owens, because growing up, I always watched him play football, and his level of confidence on and off the field, whether he was on the sidelines waiting for the defense to do their thing, or whether he was on offense doing his thing, he had the utmost amount of confidence in himself. So I was more like, yeah, Big T.O., you feel me? Big T.O. Because just watching him kind of I don't know, it just kind of gave me that sense of okay, so there are people out there who are really confident in themselves. I can probably do that. I can maybe be that, So I think for me, yeah, T.O. for sure. My sports idol for football. And then I have another one. It's Mike Tyson, right? And it's going to sound crazy. Again, my idols are crazy. Because you've got one guy who's so delusional, who believes in himself so highly. Then you have Mike Tyson, who was a legitimate psychopath, who used to undergo hypnotism because of Customato. But, Mike Tyson's story is one in a million. It's insane. You come from literally the gutter, from going to prison all the time, having all your friends in prison, doing all this crazy stuff, to becoming one of the most legendary boxers in all of history. And it's just set his life up, and now he's a good man. He sets up for his family, X, Y, and Z. So for me, Mike Tyson is always and forever will be one of my other sports idols. What about you, Viciosis?
No, you said it, you had some crazy ones, but, and that's the nice thing about idols is, it's who you want to idolize. It's, regardless of who you are, who you're idolizing, it doesn't matter. Those are the people you looked up to. So no matter how, weird, some of them might be or anything like that, it is always about, meeting those idols and, regardless who they are, you want to be like them, you wanted to work like them. So there's no shame of who you pick as your idols, Murph.
That's a good point, Vicioso.
But who? My idol, my sports idol. Um, I'm gonna go with the different one. I already have one for my childhood that's kind of related to this, so I'm gonna kind of stay away from this person. But if I had to pick another sports idol, I'm probably going Michael Jordan. Just to watch his dominance. I know it's kind of cliche. He is a superstar. He was one of the greatest, basketball players, ever. So it's kind of, but just idolizing him. I just, you remember waking up, want to be like Michael Jordan. They even made a movie called "Be Like Mike."
It'd be like Mike, it's little Bow Wow.
Yeah, you have all these people that want to be like these idols. So I mean, him growing up, watching him, I idolized him, loved, everything that he did, and now it's kind of fun, as an adult watching some of this stuff, watching more documentaries and everything about him, that are coming out. They had I'm blanking on the name, but the one of like the Bulls from when he was playing. So watching a lot of his highlights and hearing him talking and stuff like that, it was just cool to see that as an adult and listening to that. Probably from a football standpoint, probably would be either like Terrell Davis or Marshall Falk. Those are two of my favorite running backs of all time, and just to watch them go out there every day, and they seem like very genuine people. It's hard to see because when you have the spotlight, but they seem like genuine. And, they were kind of always the ones that I always looked at and kind of wanted to be like. If I ever played running back, you pretended that you were Marshall Falk, you pretended that you were Terrell Davis, trying to get past everyone. So, but those would probably be my kind of few sport idols.
Okay.
And I know you kind of touched a little bit on this, Murph, but like, who would be a childhood idol that you looked up to? Not anything specific. It doesn't have sports related, but who was someone that you looked up to as a child?
It's a very cliche answer. Growing up, a son, an only son. I had a lot of cousins around me all the time with both of their parents, but for me, it was always my mother. Watching her being able to go to school and work three jobs and, still in that hour that I saw her, even though if she was asleep or not, if I woke her up, she'd give me a kiss on my forehead, and she would try her best to show as much love as she possibly could. Even to this day, I make my own money and I help pay for bills and things like that, and whatever she needs, I take care of. Like just the other day, like a couple weeks ago, she was telling me that she didn't have enough money to get herself some fruit. So I went out the other day and I got her a bunch of fruit. So now she won't run out of fruit for the next couple weeks. So, I do those little things for my mom now that I'm a lot older to try and make her life a little bit easier. But she still works like a dog. And, I try my hardest to make her life as easy as I possibly can. And for me, she'll always and forever be one of my idols, because if it wasn't for her and her hard work, I wouldn't be alive today. She did everything that she possibly could to keep us afloat. And, literally we survived. A lot of people can thrive with two parents, but it's even just enough for one parent to make sure you guys survive on a day-to-day basis, whether that just be eating 45-cent pasta sides or a 99-cent pack of ramen noodles. To me, I didn't look at it like that because of her and how she taught me to grow up. I remember I think like 4 or 5. She taught me how to make microwaved eggs, because she was like, listen, I got another job and I got class that I'm going to be taking at work. So you're going to be home alone for pretty much 23 out of 24 hours a day. So you got to learn how to at least make something. And we had like oatmeal, because I remember you could get a box of oatmeal back in the day for like $1.25, like 10 packets or something like that. So I would always eat microwaved eggs and oatmeal. And then, I'd go to school and people would bring their lunches. And here I am with my microwaved eggs and my oatmeal. But, other people could look at me however they wanted to, because at the end of the day, my mom was trying her best. And I was like, hey, at least I got something to eat, there's a lot of people out there who don't have at least this much. They're not even this blessed. But I'm blessed enough to have the food that I have because of my IRL idol ever since I was a child. And even now as a 25-year-old grown-ass man, I still look up to this woman like she's my superhero. What about you, Viciosus? Tell me about yours. Talk to me, daddy.
with you. And I feel like that's a lot of people out there. Their parents are their
Oh yeah,
idols. You grow up, you see them every day. You see them stride. You see them working. To make a better life. For you. And I feel like that's a lot of people. They grew up with their parents. And even still to this day, they are your idols.
oh yeah,
You were the ones that grew up. They're the ones that fed you. They're the ones that helped grow you as the person that you are today. So I think that's really cool that you could have your mom as your childhood idol.
of course. Well, I appreciate that.
With me, this is why I kind of said the sports. We've talked about this a lot. Murph, this a lot, but Kevin Curtis, was my
Kevin
childhood
Curtis.
idol. For those of you that have not tuned in or not know, Kevin Curtis was a football player at Utah State University. Went on to play in the NFL and played for the Rams and the Eagles for the most part of his career, with a few other teams. But he grew up as my childhood idol. Going, Utah State football when I was growing up was just awful. They were never good. There was barely any good players, but then this guy named Kevin Curtis shows up and becomes one of the greatest receivers in Utah State history. Just growing up, idolize him, but then also getting to meet him as a person in himself. I went on one time. My sister had a coach whose husband was roommates when Kevin Curtis was at Utah State, so they kept in touch. They were really good friends, and he found out that I was a big Kevin Curtis fan. So he was in town one day, and they were going camping, and he invited me to go camping with him. He's like, "Hey, you want to go meet Kevin Curtis and go camping?" And, as a little kid, you're just like, "What?" Like you're smiling, like, "Are you serious? You want me? What? Sure." So that was kind of the first time I met him. Was a great guy. He could easily said no, like told my friend like, "No, I don't want this kid to show up. I just want to just be us. I'm here." But he wasn't. And then also when I grew up, he found out too. I was a big fan and knew I was a big fan. He sent me like a merch package, which was kind of cool. It came with like some signed football, some Rams gear when he was on the Rams, and a bunch of stuff. He even invited me and my parents, and then the friend that was the roommate. He invited us all out to St. Louis to come watch one of the games. And then just watching him too. There's a lot of people of the NFL players because he got us like some stages back past so we could meet some of the players as they were coming out of the locker room. So we were going to dinner with him, but just to watch him, he was just there was a whole line of people. There was players just walking by, just going, and he was stopping, signing every autograph that he possibly could for every fan. Like he was just a great guy, showing like, hey, look, like I'm gonna take some time out. You came to support me and the team. I'm gonna help you guys out. So he was signing a bunch of stuff. There was one night we went out to dinner with him, and we were at a sushi place, and all of a sudden randomly these guys come out. They're like, hey, like we've seen you here a lot because you would go there a lot. And he's like, will you just sign this they had like the Rams helmet, like will you just sign this for us real quick? And he's like, oh sure, yeah, boy, go ahead, like, and signed it and everything. It was nice to them. So like just watching him, as a professional athlete, yes, he wasn't, when he was on the Rams, he was still a rookie. He was third string, but I mean, he was behind two Hall of Famers. But, just watching him, that not change him. It was cool to see as a kid, him giving back to the people and still being kind of a same person that, just because he had all this money, he's maintained, he was good, he stayed with it. And, now too, I'm aware, he just owns like a house in Park City, Utah, and just kind of chills out there to my knowledge. I think that's where he's at. But, now he's just living a normal life that he's done with football. And, like, but the thing is, regardless if he was still in the NFL or not, like, I don't think the money would change him. I mean, we went to his apartment, and literally he had, like, a 2-bedroom apartment, nothing fancy, but, as a, having all of a sudden going from not a lot of money to all this money, he could have easily bought, like, a big house and stuff like that. Yeah. But he's like, I'm on a rookie contract, I don't know how long I'll be here. Like, there's no point. So it was kind of cool to see him just, act, like he was, like a college person, like, gotta make sure I save money, gotta do this and do that. So, a lot of that stuff helped me kind of grow and idolize him. to see how he grew and everything. So.
Okay.
But Murph, we kind of discussed this a little bit too. Like you said you had some now, but like who is one of your idols currently?
I mean, aside from the obvious cliche answer of it being my mom, there's another one. I have another cliche answer. It's my girl. To be honest with you, I aspire to kind of be the type of person she is. She's very helpful towards me. She's very empathetic towards me, and me being a man of my upbringing, it's very hard for me to be empathetic. And she's not perfect, and neither is nobody is. But there's a lot of aspects of her that are very, very admirable, and I think she deserves to be on my list because not just because of what she does for me, but it's what it's what she does for me emotionally, mentally, physically, all those things. She's always there for me. Been dating her for. Sorry, I had a bowl of cereal. I'm lactose intolerant. She's been there for every single, like family death or any family tragedies that have ever gone on. And I've been in my fair share of relationships, and a lot of girls will run away when things start to get tough, but she likes to run towards them and nurture the situation as well as she can. So, I've been down on my ass many times in this life. Um, and she's one of those people where it'll knock me on my ass and I'm sitting there kind of in a corner crying, I don't know what to do, and she'll always be that one beam of light that just comes in and is like, here's a bunch of solutions that we can go and do. While my head is so cloudy, she is my moment of clarity. So right now my idol in that aspect, she's got to be on that list. Obviously below my mommy because I love my mommy, my mommy, my girl, and then even till this day, I really idolize Mike Tyson heavily because of his love and respect for Muhammad Ali. He kept it true even to this day. When you watch his podcast, he mentions Muhammad Ali at least once every episode, and his viewpoint still hasn't changed. He still thinks Muhammad Ali is the greatest boxer alive. There was when he came in, his first match was against the guy that knocked out Muhammad Ali, and his love for Muhammad Ali, he goes in there and knocks that guy out within like 45 seconds. It's not a regular knockout. He knocks that guy out brutally. I mean, oh my God. And now he's just a humble guy who disassociates with that monster Mike Tyson, and he kind of has this thing that he says is there's me now and there's that monster Mike Tyson. And I feel like there's a lot of us people who have that side of us where we're like one person every single day to day basis. We're this really nice person, but if somebody gets on our bad side, we can show that monster Mike Tyson side of us. So he's very relatable. And the things he talks about, I aspire to do for my family, and for my friends and things of that nature. So, I mean, even on his podcast, he's put on like 4 or 5, even I think close to like 6 or 7 of his buddies to try and get them some bread in their pockets. Yeah, he just, I don't know. For me, he's just always been one of my idols, and I think he'll remain there. What about you, Vicious? Talk to me.
So I'm gonna kind of switch this up, kind of more to a work aspect. For all of you that don't know, where I'm an athletic trainer. Pretty much, I help athletes with injuries, rehab them, right then and there. I'm right there for the initial injury. But I think I would say, 2 of my idols. I mean, I can go off. I actually there's about, I'd say probably about 4 that I've kind of idolized and kind of grown in a lot from. First one, his name was Ryan. He was one of the when I was in school. He was one of my rotations. He was at a high school. I learned a lot from him on how to deal with athletes, how to interact with athletes. Just seeing him, he was a really great person, really great around the athletes. I mean, we could talk all the time, ask questions. He was definitely one that kind of inspired me, helped me kind of grow. Why I was learning to become an athletic trainer. The second one was Jamie. Again, she was another one that I had my rotations with. She really helped me kind of grow as well. She was a great person, great with the athletes. I definitely learned a lot from her as well on how to just be a better person, be a better athletic trainer. It was kind of cool to, just to pick her brain. But she was definitely an idol from at least a work spot, that I've kind of grown my athletic training. Another one, his name's Joel. He was kind of my first preceptor. That's what they're called for my clinical rotations. I also worked under him during some work study, but he helped me grow. I was just a lone kind of freshman at that time, but I learned a lot from him. I know it's not more now, it's not in the now, but a lot of these have helped me grow to where I am now, so I still idolize them. Like when I was watching him, he would, we got taught by the book, like, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, and an athlete would come in like, hey, I'm feeling this, I'm doing this, he pushed around one thing that hurt, yep, okay, this is your injury, and then, they go get an MRI, and that was the injury, and it just, learning that stuff, it was like, oh my, like, how the crap did you just do that? You just did like 3 things, and you found out what this injury was, like, so it was just, cool to see and great to learn from, just, because he had been doing it so long. But yeah, he was a good one. And then the last one is Dustin. He's kind of my current boss. He does a really great job. He's really willing to help you learn as well as has your back. He's kind of definitely shown me what I would, if I ever become a boss, what type of boss I want to be. He's, if there's things that he feels like you shouldn't have to deal with, he's the one that's taking duty on those because he doesn't want to make you. I mean, like during the COVID times, we had to do a bunch of stuff. He took a lot of that responsibility on himself because he didn't want us to become, the bad guys, having to tell athletes, tell coaches, like, hey, this person can't practice, or hey, you're getting shut down because there's a COVID. So I've really learned a lot from him and idolize him. Seeing what it's like to become. But even just through my career, I've met a lot of people I've idolized. But those are probably like my top 4 current in terms of my like working condition of what really kind of grew me and wanted me, has grown me to athletic training, has also wanted to keep me into athletic training.
Okay.
So, Murph, me and you, we play a lot of games. We do a lot of stuff. We are streamers. We work hard to be that. Who is one or two of your gaming idols, whether that's, a streamer, someone that plays games? Who is some of your idols that you've kind of grown and love?
I'd have to say, honestly, my tag boys, without sounding corny or whatever, I genuinely think it's my tag boys. Just, with how all of us are grown men still trying to do our own thing in our regular day lives, and then yet we still manage to somehow play games with one another every single day, or if we haven't heard from one another in a while, we'll check up on each other. I mean, literally, you and I talk to each other every single day, and you're a very family-oriented guy, you're a very focused man, and even just the way that, like, for example, we just got a new member, but, like, he's new to everybody else. He's been my friend for almost 16 years. But I didn't know he was a streamer or anything like that. But it's just the way that as soon as he comes into the community accepts him. And it's mainly just my tag boys down to help anybody at any time to get to that point of success, even if it's just helping someone get to affiliate, and still having to do their own things. I mean, you inspire me to consistently, not get too beat up about things and to never take stuff as serious as I usually do. Mackie inspires me to have my own opinion about things. And, Zan inspires me to be a good man, a good husband in a sense, because of how good of a husband he is to his wife. I mean, streaming is one of his real passions, but he'll take time off from that to spend time with his wife. Recently I've seen him with his goddaughter, and it's just so cool to know that, like I said previously, we all have that inner monster in us, but it's just so cool to see somebody like that have that soft side, and for me to be able to see that side is so heartwarming. It's very inspiring as well, and Lex is such a hard-working kid, and I'm so proud of him, and how hard he works, but he still, whenever he does stream, he goes hard. So there's no stopping him. I mean, he'll pull off a 16, 18-hour stream and won't even blink about it. You know what I mean? And we've got Dom. Dom is another one of those young kids that we have who really, really, I mean, he has his ups and downs in his life, but he's still streaming and he's still doing his thing, and I'm so proud of him. I mean, the younger he starts, the more consistent he stays, it's a much higher chance of him becoming something, especially in this streaming world, not in life, but in the streaming world. He could definitely become somebody for real, for real. And there's so many more that I could name off, but I think it would take the entire episode. So for me, my idols, especially when it comes to streaming, is my tag boys. I get excited. I actually get genuinely, I feel a sense of happiness when I see you guys are live and I get to stop in and say hi to you guys. And again, it's like Mr. Vegito. He is unapologetically himself. There's nothing you can say or do that's going to change Vegito from being Vegito. And there's a lesson to learn from each one of our boys every single day, every single time. So you guys are really my inspiration, not just in life, but to just keep going consistently at the streaming stuff. Because I know that if I ever stopped or if I ever felt down, I'd be letting my boys down. We've built an empire. All of us together have worked our asses off to build this empire. Even Noah. Noah has his days where he's on and off, but recently Noah's really been going hard. And Noah's one of my personally very, very close friends, and I know his personal struggles and stuff. So for him, streaming is very important. And just seeing him being able to flip that switch to know that, like, okay, I'm getting a little bit older now, so I can't make those same mistakes. It's time for me to focus on what's really important and something that I really want to turn into a career, which would be streaming. And I love to see that kid doing his thing on streaming and pulling a 6-hour stream, a 7-hour stream, maybe 4 times, 5 times a week. Like, you guys are really my inspiration and my motivation on a day-to-day basis. So I really idolize you guys, and I know idolizing humans is kind of a weird aspect, because people don't really. I mean, a lot of people, it's a common Western idea, I guess you could say, but back home from where I'm really from, in Pakistan, we don't really Middle Easterners don't really do that. They only idolize gods and deities. So for me to be able to grow up here and it be acceptable for me to idolize my friends is really a cool concept, and I think that's awesome. To have such positive people around me all the time and to see you guys struggle through your own things. And I know it sounds weird for me to be excited about your guys' struggles, but for me, it's like, let's see, I know he's struggling with this. Let's see how he comes out of this. Let's see what he does to help himself become a better person, to come out of this struggle. And I love watching that. I love watching that because I know at the end of the day, you guys come out on the other side much stronger human beings, much better men, and you guys just go even harder every single time. So for me, it's my tag boys. Without a doubt in my mind, it's you guys.
Okay.
What about you, Vicioso? What about you, baby?
So my first one would probably have to be KY Speedy. He is kind of, I know I've talked about him a little bit. It's kind of part of this. Initially, they called themselves the Crew. It's kind of faltered out. Some of them are mostly crew, but they don't do as much they do outside of other people. But he probably was my number, one of my ones. He's kind of, I just randomly stumbled upon him. I used to watch a couple of different things, and just his videos started becoming recommended. And since then, since they started recommended, I just kept watching and watching his videos. I just really, he was one that kind of got me into wanting to try and do YouTube, wanting me to try. I mean, at that point in time, it wasn't really streaming. It was more just YouTube at the time. But, then he started streaming. But, he was one that, I was trying to create content. I was trying to get the stuff so I could put videos on YouTube, editing, stuff like that. Because I just watched him and how much fun him and that group had, He was definitely one that kind of built me up and, caused me and wanted me to kind of try and grow as a gamer, grow as a, at that point in time, YouTuber. He streams now too, and, I know most of his things he kind of posted to YouTube, but I still watch his YouTube things, and so it's just fun to watch, how he's grown and how the community around him has grown. He was definitely one person that I kind of idolized trying to become a YouTuber and streamer, and then as well as, kind of you said, the Tag Fam. You guys in the tag community have done a lot for me. Before I met this group, I had been streaming maybe 2 years, like barely had hit affiliate after like 2 years. I know it wasn't consistent, but even for like a year of that, it was very consistent. I was trying to stream and trying to get followers, trying to hit affiliate. I had hit affiliate, but I met this group, and within like 6 months of about 6 months of knowing this group, I went from 60 followers to like 150 followers. I finally got my ever first payout on Twitch, and it was super quick. So Tag helped, idolized all these people, watching them, how much everyone will go into other people's streams and build them up. If you get, some of us, will raid out to random streamers and show that love, try and get, that streamer, because they're not affiliates, and we know the struggles that, it can be to get affiliates. So want to help anyone that can possibly can. So finding those people, finding random streamers, kind of networking, like just watching everyone of Tag kind of do that, it has me idolized, like you said. There's a lot of individual members. You could probably say great things about every single member, but just watching them help everyone grow and show support all the time. When, like you said, everyone has their own jobs, has their own responsibilities outside of gaming. Just watching that community come when they can, even if it's for 2 seconds, hopping in, making sure they're fine. All that stuff. It's great to see that community. And just on top of that too, I gotta they are somewhat part of Tag. They're not a big part, but Enders, Plague, AG, Jimbo, a couple of other people, they were ones that kind of helped me get to affiliates, and so they're my idols too. They were always coming, they were always supporting. My friend Enders was the one that kind of got me into streaming. He started streaming. I was like, oh, that's cool, I should start streaming. And just watching him and watching him grow and helping me grow, I idolized him because I wanted to be like him. He still has me on followers, he still has me like that, but it was, he was someone that I looked up to when I was trying to get, if he had a mark, I wanted to hit that mark too, because I was trying to wanted to be like him, wanted to grow like him, and just watching the success of his channel made me want that success as well.
Okay.
So now this one's a little kind of interesting, but Murph, who would be your one idol that is currently dead? Someone that you idolized maybe while they're alive, or you didn't start idolizing till late. Kind of who is someone that you idolize?
I think this is where there's a generational thing, and I think this is where my more current generation side pops out. Juice WRLD and XXX, because those two, they died really young, and I got into Juice WRLD's music a little bit late, but I was very, very feeling kind of differently about life at that moment. And not to say Juice WRLD saved me, but his music kind of helped me cope with that time of my life. And so I really hold Juice WRLD very, very, very closely to me in my life. And, he had he had songs where, when you're feeling sad, that's that guy that I would listen to. I remember 3 years in a row, he was my number one for my Spotify wrap-up, because I listened to so much Juice WRLD, because I don't know, I just really resonated with him for a really long time, and I kind of hopped on that Juice WRLD train really, really, really late. I never used to like him, but then when I really got into him, then I found out that he had died, and then I remember that day, because I cried my ass off at work, and then I kind of sat there thinking, this guy doesn't know who I am. I don't, I know who he is, in a sense, through his music, but he doesn't know who the hell I am, and I'm over here crying my freaking face off, because I just read online that he just died, and I'm like, y'all are lying, this isn't real. And then I see a bunch of stuff the whole day, and I'm like, damn, he's really dead, that's crazy. And then X was another one of those guys who was unapologetically himself, and XXS was also one of those guys who had a really rough upbringing, and he still made it out. And just to see his interactions, even there was this one video of him, he got sentenced to jail for a couple of months, and his fans are in the courtroom, and he's getting handcuffed to get taken to a cell, probably a holding cell. so they can get his details and whatnot. And the fan goes, "I really love you, X." And X is like, "I love you too, man." And the fan's like, "Don't worry, you'll get through this, man. Just keep your head up." Things of that, like words of encouragement. And it was just the fact that X never forgot about the people that supported him, even in a situation where, he did something and he could be facing some serious jail time. The last words he said to someone was, "I love you too," and that was really cool to me. And when X died, the same thing happened. Like, I cried my ass off at work, and I'll never forget. I was at Taco Bell working line, and the cashier reads, because the cashier gets a pretty good bit of free time on their hands, especially when nothing is happening. When you work line, you have to make the in diner orders and the drive through orders at the same time. So it's like, okay. I didn't really understand what was going on, and then I took a bathroom break, and then I read it online, and then I started crying. Because again, he was unapologetically himself. And the same thing as Juice WRLD. He had that music where you would get pumped to be in the gym, or to go play a football game, or go into a wrestling tournament, or go into a boxing match. But he also had those games where, like, when you're sitting there by yourself at night with just you and your thoughts, he's that guy that was kind of like your therapist in that moment. If you really liked X, then you know that. He would help you through all of your moments and sadness where you felt like you didn't have anybody else. And sometimes these musicians don't realize the weight that they hold in certain people's lives. So for me, those two were the two that are dead, that are my idols to this day. And I have their own separate dedicated playlists in my Spotify for both of those artists, because I listen to them daily. Regardless of what I'm doing, I always listen to an X album or a Juice WRLD album all the way through from start to finish. Because those guys really had an impact on my life as musicians. And I never really have been to a concert of somebody I liked. I've gone to concerts with my girl, for my girl, but ever since those two died, those are really the only two that I ever wanted to see in concert. And so just now that they're gone, I just kind of don't want to go to concerts. And I think that's how much I idolize them, that if I'm going to go to a concert and spend money, I want to go see those two. And since that's no longer possible, I just kind of don't want to go. What about you, Viciosus? Talk to me, baby.
So when we were thinking of things for this topic, I had some good thoughts and about the dead idols, but I am very struggling trying to remember who I was thinking of. But as kind of we've been talking through this, thinking of one. I wouldn't say it was a major idol, but still was idolized. I would probably say Chadwick Boseman. I know it's a fairly recent death here, but just hearing all the stories about him, and dealing with cancer for, what was it, like three years or something like that.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, just dealing with cancer for that long, beat up, his body felt tired. But yet he went on, because he wanted to do it for the fans, and he fought through that. And he filmed 3 major movies that he had really good parts in and pretty good parts in, and took the toll of I can only imagine as an actor or actress how long the days those could be, having to memorize everything, put your body through different things, repeating things, doing day and night, getting up early because you have to get your makeup or whatever done to do this or do that. But just, I can't imagine like how much that was going through. Plus also, dealing with cancer and having your body trying to shut down on itself, and fighting through all that because that's what you wanted to do. That's your passion, and you wanted to make something that was memorable for the fans. It's just amazing just to hear those stories about him, and it, kind of makes you learn, like, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be hard parts of your life, but, you need to push through them, and give the best you got. And in those situations, he could have just easily said, no, I'm done with these movies, I can't be in it, I have cancer, but he didn't. There was very little people that knew he had cancer until his death. Which is crazy to think, and then everyone was posting pictures like, wow, he's lost a lot of weight and stuff like that, and then they realize, oh, this is why. But no one ever knows that stuff. But for him to keep it just under wraps and just push through one of the hardest moments you can have in your entire life, is pretty cool to watch and pretty cool to see. His passing was unfortunate. I feel like he still would have thrived in the movie industry if he was alive. But just to see the impact he had, I mean, if you watch the new Black Panther, a lot of their crying during the moments of like his passing and stuff like that, those are real cheers because they were really idolizing him as a person and not the character. And so, just to see how much of a difference he made to his co-stars, his people that he worked with on a daily, how he changed their lives, it was incredible to see.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Him. I mean, I've always been a Black Panther fan. That was crazy. Just like you said, he never told anybody, and that's like a real soldier right there. You're going through something that's life threatening, and you know it, and you're feeling the effects of it majorly on a day-to-day basis, and yet you still somehow muster the strength to go in and film a whole entire movie and do other parts in other movies. Wasn't he in that the one with Thanos where they had that huge battle too?
Yeah.
Or was that also Black Panther?
Yeah, he was Black Panther within those movies. So it just wasn't the Black Panther movie itself. So
to also make those cameos as well, because I know they were talking about it, him and Chris Evans in that one scene where they were literally just running nose to nose down the battlefield. He did that for real. Like, he was sprinting. That was him. I think that's insane, bro. That's insane. That's a man's man right there. That's insane. That's crazy.
So, chat, well, looks like we're kind of getting close to wrapping up, but anyone have any questions they want to ask us about our idols or any of your idols that you may possibly have? Why we're letting you guys type that into the chat and everything. Murph, as always, you always have that one question. What is your question for today?
Okay. So, and it can't be Kevin Curtis, okay?
Okay.
It can't be Kevin Curtis. If you could take one of your idols to a dinner date, not a dinner date, but like out to dinner to learn as much as you possibly could from them, which one would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Very good question. And I probably wouldn't pick Kevin Curtis because I know about him. I've been to dinner and meet to his time, so you didn't have
I just wanted to cover that base,
you didn't have to worry about that. That's a hard, because the problem is some of a lot of these that I've talked about, I've kind of grown or seen. If I probably had to pick one, it would probably be KY or Speedy. I'd just be interested to pick his brain on what caused him to start streaming, what caused him to do the YouTube, and just asking numerous questions about how he grew, the crew team he had, and just kind of how he grew his fan base and the love and how he manages it all and stuff like that. So he would probably be the one that I would like to have dinner with and just kind of pick his brain about gaming, about streaming, about YouTube, just kind of everything like that, because I feel like that's something that could benefit me, but then also too just like I said, as a fanboy, I would be crazy, I feel like, to have dinner with him, just to and to my knowledge, I think we're about the same age, which is crazy too. So, I get to meet and learn someone that's, my same age, and get to kind of learn how they're so successful, as at an age like mine.
Right.
How about you,
okay.
Murph? Who would be your one idol that you would like to go to dinner with? Besides your mom or your girlfriend?
I was going to say, I go to dinner with them all the freaking time. I'm tired of going to dinner with them. I think, It's such a tough question because I don't know. I didn't mention him, but there was this Indian YouTuber. His name was Just Rain, and I think I've talked to on the podcast about him actually multiple times before. But Just Rain was one of those YouTubers growing up that he made content for Middle Easterners, and he made such funny and relatable content that kind of like I felt like he was my big brother in a way. So I kind of want to go to dinner with him to kind of give him the thank you and the props that he deserves. And he got a lot of backlash because he did something that went against his religion, but it really kind of didn't. But people were getting angry at him, so he decided to just drop YouTube all in all. And I just want to give a chance to just tell him, thank you for everything that you've done. Maybe get some tips and tricks on him on how to not be so shy, because I have a lot of hidden talents, and I feel like I could be the next Just Rain, but I'm just too shy, and I would love to get some tips and tricks and maybe some confidence key tips from him on how to do better, and to tell him that you were a key and integral part of a lot of Middle Eastern children's lives growing up. Like a lot of us teenagers, I have a couple of desi, which is another word for like Middle Easterns. I have a lot of desi friends who stream, and I'll go into their streams and I'll drop like a Just Rain quote, and they'll be like, "Oh, dude, I remember those days of Just Rain," and I'm like, "Yeah, bro, everybody remembers those days. That guy was awesome." So I think I'd definitely go on dinner with him. That guy was such a huge part of me growing up, and me being able to cope with certain things in life, especially as a brown kid dealing with brown people, brown parents doing brown parents things. He kind of made it funny, and he made it content where you could kind of sit down with your parents and watch it. So it made it even funnier when your parents are like, "Oh, I do that to you, don't I?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you do that to me." So I think I definitely go on dinner with Just Rain, and I'm paying for it, all of it. We're getting all the poutine,
Ooh, a little nice dinner
all
down
of
there.
that stuff.
I like it. I like it. Well, chat. Kind of looks like we're the end of the episode. Zan, we appreciate you tuning in. Everyone else that may have not, may have been lurking, but not said anything in chat. We appreciate like all the time, all you guys do for us. For you guys tuning in the podcast, or that's here on YouTube. We appreciate you all, as well as YouTube. We appreciate all that. Those that watch us on YouTube, but always on our videos, let us know what we can kind of do better, what we can do to improve the stream. We'd love to hear from you guys on that aspect. We are on, YouTube is Murph and Vish. We are also on Twitter, Murph and Vish. You can even DM us on there with any ideas that you possibly have. We'd love to hear them. But from this episode, kind of let us know, who are your idols. We love to hear that, whether that's your sports idol, your childhood idol, who you have now, your gaming idols, someone that's dead. We'd love to hear from you guys. We would like to know about that. And just as a reminder, I'm wearing the new Murph and Vicious merch. Feel free to check out our merch store if you're interested. We got a bunch of different hats, shirts, short pants, shorts, various different things. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check that out. That's on streamlabs.com /merch/Murph and Vish podcast. But we appreciate everyone that tuned into the podcast as always, and we'll catch you guys later.